guys, welcome back to my kitchen. So today we're going to be making one of my favorite bread recipes, and that is for my honey white bread, and it is so delicious. It's got that nice outer crisp layer and the inside is so nice and fluffy. You're gonna love it. So let's go over all of the ingredients and get started. Okay guys, this is everything you're gonna need. It's pretty basic, pretty simple. We've got some flour, egg yolks, egg whites, butter, milk, yeast, sugar, some water, and some salt, and some honey. So, like with any bread, you're gonna have to let this rise for about 2 hours. You can go minimum between 40 to 45 minutes per rise. I like to do an hour. I think because it just makes the inside of the bread a little bit more tender. But if you don't have that time, you can go in and do about 45 minutes and you're good to go. So let's get everything cleared up, situated, and we'll get started. Okay, first things first, we're going to make our yeast mixture so it can go ahead and start proofing. I've just got my sugar here. I'm just going to add that into the bowl or to this measuring cup along with my yeast. And we're just going to set these little bowls aside. We're going to give this a little mix and get this all nice and combined. And then we're going to let this sit for about 5 minutes just until everything starts to get nice and foamy and frothy. And we'll be good to go. So I'm just going to let this sit and do its thing, and then I'll meet you right back here. Okay, while my yeast mixture is going, we are going to go ahead and prep our flour. So all you're going to need is maybe about 1/2 teaspoon of fine salt. I like to use fine salt because I think it just mixes better. But if you have kosher salt or anything like that, that is perfectly fine. Go ahead and use that. Don't rush out to the store just to buy a special ingredient. Just use what you have on hand. So I want to go ahead and mix this together pretty well because I don't want to add in my yeast mixture with the salt because the salt will kill the yeast and we want this to rise. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And let's see, we'll set this over here and then we'll get everything else going. I've got my stand mixer here and it's fitted with a paddle attachment, and we're just going to go ahead and mix everything together. So I've got my milk here and it's at room temperature, but it's slightly warmer than room temperature. So I'm just going to add that right into my bowl here. Okay, along with my egg yolks. And we're going to add in our butter. Right in there. And we are going to add in about 2 tablespoons of honey. And this is just going to sweeten this bread up just slightly. And it's going to give it that nice floral honey scent or honey flavor into the bread. It's going to be absolutely delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and mix this together and get this sort of combined before we move on to the next step. Okay guys, so this mixture is sort of combined. The butter's not incorporated. It just looks like a lumpy mess, but that is completely fine. It's going to come together. And my yeast mixture is ready to go. It is nice and foamy, so we're going to add that right in. If your yeast mixture does not get foamy, one of 2 things could be going on. It could be not warm enough. Your mixture should, it could be cold, or your yeast is bad. So if it doesn't foam up, you might have to start back over. So make sure you buy fresh yeast, and you'll be good to go. So we're going to go ahead and mix this together, get it a little bit combined. Now that this is a little bit combined, we're going to go ahead and start adding in our flour. I've got that mix ready to go. So I'm going to add in about half of this, and we'll go from there. Let's see if I can get it all in there without making too much of a mess. I want to leave about 2 cups in here, just to add more if I need it, which I'm probably going to need, but we're just going to go ahead and get this going, and then I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so my dough is still quite runny, so I'm going to go ahead and add in the remainder of our flour. And I've got some more flour setting to the side if I need any more, because it really depends on the moisture in your air on how much flour you're going to need. So add in half at a time and then go from there. If you need more, add more. But I will go ahead and mix this together, and when I get it all incorporated and it's where I need it, I will show you what you should look for, and I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so I've added in the remainder of the flour, and it's still quite sticky. And this is kind of what you're looking for. I'm going to go ahead and mix this for about 5 to 10 minutes. It should pull away from the edges of the bowl, and it should be fairly clean. I'm not going to say it's going to be completely clean, because there will be bits and pieces stuck to the side of the bowl, but it should be fairly clean. If you need any more flour, I would check it about 5 minutes in, and if you need any more, I would add in about a tablespoon at a time until you get the consistency that you want. It really just depends. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and let it run for about 5 minutes and give it a check, and then we'll go from there. Okay guys, it has been about 10 minutes and my dough is done. It's still slightly sticky, not much. It won't stick to my hands if you touch it, and that's what you're looking for. You don't want the dough to be completely dry. You want to add just enough flour to make it where you can touch it without it sticking to your hand. I added just over 1/3 of a cup, 1 tablespoon at a time, to make sure that I was not adding too much, and we're good to go. So I've got this ready. I've got a bowl here, and I've just got it oiled with a little bit of oil. It doesn't really matter what kind of oil that you use. Just use whatever you have on hand. So I'm just going to go ahead and slide this over and pour this into my little bowl here. Like I said, it is still slightly sticky, and that's what you want. You don't want it to be too dry, because we want this bread to be nice and fluffy, and that nice crisp outer layer. Let's see if I can get it all out with my hand here. It's still slightly sticky at the bottom, which is fine. It is no problem at all. It's going to rise beautifully. So I am just going to give this a little toss and get it nice and well coated in that oil. And then we are going to cover this with plastic wrap, and we're going to let this sit minimum 45 minutes to an hour. And then I will meet you right back here. We will cut this in half and start baking bread. Alright guys, it's been about 45 minutes and my dough has doubled in size. I've got a loaf pan here that I've already buttered and ready to go. So I'm just going to take this plastic wrap off and just gently press this down. And deflate this slightly. Now you can do this however you want. You can make 3 loaves, you can make 2 loaves. I'm going to make 2 rather big loaves because I have a neighbor that took care of our pup while we were on a one-day road trip this past weekend. So I'm going to give him a loaf, and I'm just going to kind of cut this in half like that. And we are going to place this in our little pan here. And we're going to let this rise one more time for about another 30 minutes, 45 minutes, until it's doubled in size. So all I'm doing now is just kind of folding it under and kind of tucking it in on the bottom. And I'm going to kind of shape it into a log here and then just place it right back, or I'm going to place it in this pan here. I'm going to go ahead and cover this up with plastic wrap, and I'm going to set this back into a warm place to rise for a second time. In the meantime, I'm going to preheat my oven to about 425 degrees. I want my oven nice and hot, and then I will meet you back here and when it gets done. Okay guys, so it has been about 45 minutes and my bread has risen very nicely, and it is ready to get baked. So what I've got here is my egg whites in this little bowl here, and all I'm going to do is just very carefully brush the top with this egg white, and this is just going to help it get nice and brown on top. And then we are just going to pop these in the oven until they are nice and golden brown. Now it really depends on your oven how long it will take, but it should take about 20 to 30 minutes depending on your oven. Just keep an eye on it. The top will be nice and golden brown. It should release from the pan very, very easily. Just be careful when working with the loaf pan because it will be very, very hot. The bottom should sound hollow when you tap on it. If it doesn't sound hollow, put it back in the pan, put it back in the oven for about 5 minutes or so, and it should be good to go. So I'm going to put this in the oven, and I'll see you back when it gets done. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe before you leave. And if you want this recipe or any of my other recipes, you can click the link down in the description box to my website. It'll take you right there. It's also pinned in the comments section. So, yeah you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.